Hey, what's going on, y'all? My name is Lyric, and I'm here with some phenomenal gentlemen, and we're gonna have a phenomenal conversation about dad entrepreneurs and being Black girl dadpreneurs. I got it from you.
Yeah,
We're gonna go around the table. We're gonna get to know our panelists one by one. We're gonna start from the left, and y'all gonna introduce yourselves to the folks, and we're gonna get into it.
My name's Frugal Freddy. I'm a financial coach that's here to help men cultivate financial wellness through community, connection, and literacy.
Word. My name is Perry Jeffries. I'm the president of Diamond Equity Advisors and the founder of Financially Fit. We have a investment advisory firm located here in Columbus, Ohio, with clients across the globe. And we specialize and hold our mission around closing the wealth gap, one relationship at a time.
All right, I'm Sean Smart. I am owner of GCS, Guardian Care Services, which is a home and community-based services, providing services for people with developmental disabilities.
And my name is Lyric, and I am here, your host of the Black Girl Dad panel discussion for Black Girl Dad Week, going on February 13th through 19th in Columbus, Ohio. If you haven't gotten your tickets for that dance yet, it's on Saturday 19th. If you haven't got them, they're probably gone and you probably can't get them. But you are going to be able to get into this conversation with us. So let's get into this amazing conversation. I'm excited to learn about you guys' story and about your girl-dad relationships. All right. So my first question, we're going to start from, let's go with Perry because he's my guy. So let's go around the cone here and talk about what makes your story? Like, what is your girl dad story, and how do you get to this point of being a girl dad? Besides, all the obvious stuff.
All the obvious. Yeah. But to keep 100, being a girl dad is an honor, right? And I'm honored to have one of my daughters here. I have twin daughters, so big shout out to my daughters, Michaelin, and my daughters, Madeline. Yeah. And being a girl dad, that relationship, that bond between the daughter and the father is a real thing, right? And understanding that as a father, you're their first relationship, right? And I just take pride in that, knowing that, I'm able to pour into them. And real quick story, I remember the first day, the day I found out that I was having not one, but two, and found out that they were both girls. I went back to my office and sat down in my cubicle and I said, Joe, hold on now. What in the world? I'm about to have two girls? And the first thing that goes to my mind is like, what in the world am I going to teach girls?
Right.
And it's almost like God spoke to me. He was like, who better to teach a girl than a man, when it comes to dealing with relationships and things of that nature. Right. So after that day, I just embraced it and been running ever since.
Nice.
Awesome. I would say mine started 4 years ago. I have a 4-year-old daughter, Savannah Danielle. And kind of to your point, when my daughter was born, that's when it just clicked for me. Like, that's when life became real, to be honest with you. And since then, it's been full throttle. I'm really just trying to build this legacy for our family, and just looking forward to how it's going to go as she gets older. Nice. I'm the youngest guy on the panel, so these guys have been telling me stories to look out for once my daughter gets teenage years. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's a lot. What about you, Sean?
Well, my daughter, Amaria, who's 13, shout out to her. She is a really girly girl, but also is such a natural athlete. She's really good in basketball. Started out when I had the opportunity to coach her, and even track and field too. She ran track and did shot put. She threw shot put for the first time and placed first in the district nationals, and went to the regionals and placed third, which qualified her for the National Junior Olympics. So, but yeah, she's a nurturer. She loves animals, and she's quite the cook too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
She got her doing her thing.
Yeah, she is.
And that's good to hear you all's story. Like, I mean, because my story is similar. I had that moment of reckoning when I found out. I always tell the story because when I found out that I was having a girl, I was just frozen. I was like, there's first off, I don't even know how to be a man. So like, you know, I was a young dad. I had, you know, Mariah when she was like 19, when I was 19. So I was just like, you know, how am I going to teach anything? How am I going to be a father when I haven't even figured out how to be a man growing up without my father? And so this is phenomenal to hear other people's story, because I never really got to share that. So that's pretty awesome. I appreciate that. And that brings me to my next thought. Like, how does, you know, your entrepreneur side, how does that impact your relationship with your daughters?
I'll go. I think for me, although my daughter's 4, I'm in the vending machine business, and she comes with me to fill up the machines, and she doesn't know what's really going on, but she knows what's going on. I think as a dad, one of my styles of parenting is through experience. Like, I'm going to show you, you're going to come along the way, you're going to learn. I think that's some of the most valuable things that they can learn outside of the school realm. So it's just really trying to give them an example. Doesn't mean that they have to do it, but just bring them along so they can learn, and they can develop a skill along the way too that could be beneficial for them in the future.
Nice.
That's major. I'll speak to that. And the question, Lyric, was, how does me being an entrepreneur impact my daughters?
Yeah. How does it impact your relationship?
Well, I tell you what, I believe it makes the relationship stronger. And I would say that because my daughters at a very early age have seen me on the grind and maybe had no idea what the grind was. Just know, like, seemed like dad is always busy, right? And as they start to mature, and especially when we brought them on the payroll and now they work for the company, they understand the grind even more. Like, oh, dad is grinding for us. This isn't, you know, just dad trying to be busy. No, he's trying to build something for us. And we're now starting to have those conversations about wealth and what that looks like. And they were just had a presentation here recently where I spoke over at an event and, you know, had 11 to 18-year-olds in the room talking about wealth creation and financial literacy. And then I brought them home and said, okay, now you need to present to your friends because I want to make sure that you're paying attention. So I believe just how it's impacting them is they're seeing what that grind looks like and seeing it from the ground level, because let's keep it 100. With entrepreneurship, everybody is the glitz and glamour of being an entrepreneur. But until you've seen somebody head down grinding, like today, I came out around 4 o'clock, scarfing out food. She's like, "You hungry?" I said, "Yeah, I haven't eaten yet." Because the grind is real. You know what I'm saying, right? I woke up this morning getting after it, and I didn't come up for air until 4 o'clock before I had to come here and connect with y'all. Right? So her being able to see that and relate to it, I think is huge.
Nice. What you, Sean?
Well, for me, she came to my office when she was in elementary school early on. I had a small office space, around 600 square feet. And then business started booming. We needed more space. And we moved from 600 square feet to 3,000 square feet. So her coming in and seeing, wow, you know, all this space and all the office furniture that I have to buy for, you know, that suite. And then also her participating and doing a lot of the clerical work. You know, she knows how to file, she knows how to print, she knows how to put stuff in data entry, she knows how to shred papers, you know, answering the phone. That's, you know, those are skills I think that helps later on in life, you know, as far as value added, and it gives her confidence. So, you know, it's a thing where I feel that our relationship has become stronger because she knows what dad does.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if I can attest to that, I know that my daughter, she's the producer right now. She's running the show right now.
Shout out to her.
She's been that person. She used to just hang out and just watch me do it. And then she wanted to pick up a camera. I think the first time she ever picked up a camera was when she was 4. Oh, wow. And I taught her how to shoot photography at the age of 4. She was like shooting flies and trying to like get like macro, like little micro pictures and everything like that. But she was really into it and kind of nurtured that over time. Like obviously, like what I do is outside of that. But she's been with me since my grinds. Like I was poor when she was, when she was able to understand what that looked like. But she's been there throughout that entire struggle, and it's kind of instilled some different values throughout that process, because she's seen dad like working nonstop, sometimes not eating. She tells me, she's old enough to tell me now, like, you need to eat.
Right.
If I'm working too hard, because sometimes, the balance is not always good. So, but I know that I can attest, and all those different points are great points. And what are some values that you guys have like instilled in, like particular values that you've instilled into your daughters throughout your entrepreneur life?
You had. Defer to you.
That's the elder spokesperson.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hashtag senior citizen.
OG.
So values. Well, I'll speak to this. So again, when you look on social media, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, right? Go start your LLC, get a loan, and become rich the next day.
That's so easy. Man.
It's so easy, right? So easy. And for sure, right? And what we
Mama, I made it. No, sorry.
I made it, right? Here, what we did here recently, and I believe this not only in entrepreneurship, just in life, period, and learned just through John C. Maxwell, that everything rises and falls with leadership. So in order to be successful, not just in entrepreneurship, but in life, as a spouse, as a business person, as just a positive person in the community, if you will, you have to be intentional about growth. So here recently, the twins and the whole family, my beautiful wife here as well, we start studying the book, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. So not only studying the book, but also having a mastermind on Sundays where making sure that you are actually digesting this information and being able to, and be able to apply it. And what I explained to them, so whether you want to go to the WNBA, whether you want to, own your own business and things of that nature, it comes down to growth. So one, I guess principle you asked me, a value we've instilled in the girls is learning, right? And personal growth. Because I know me personally going through school, I hated the stuff they had me reading in school. And when I got into the real world and I realized there were books I could read that I could follow the blueprint and go make money or go have impact, I said, sign me up for that. So one value I believe we're teaching to them is just the value of personal growth and development. And that's going to apply to anything in addition to entrepreneurship.
I would say one of the things, although my daughter is only 4, relationships matter. Savannah is a people's person. At school, when she's out with me in the field, we recently remodeled a duplex and the contractor came. She's like, where's Mr. Steve? And she knows Mr. Steve works on the house and we have to pay him and we building that relationship. And I think that's one of the things that I've been very intentional with instilling in her, that relationships do matter. It's not how much money you make, it's that connection that you have. And for example, we met 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I've been rocking with Perry for a while, so those relationships matter, and it definitely opens doors. And money that can't open doors. So even though she's 4, she has picked that up. She's like the most popular girl at school. Sometimes I don't like that, but I love it. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm Savannah, and she's herself. So relationships matter.
That's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. With Amaria, you're talking about relationships matter. That's so true. She has a lot of friends as well. But she also, when I'm working from home and she hears me talking to my employees, and if it could be personnel issues, just trying to solve problems. And, one of the things I realize is that one, she's listening. 2, she's asking me questions after, I get done. Especially if there is someone crying or an employee crying, that happens sometimes. But she was like, so what happened? What was this? That's crazy. Wow. I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this instead. So I said, okay. And another thing with her is, I always tell her, don't feel like you have to do everything all at once. Rome was not built in one day. Establish small goals, chunk it down in pieces, do one thing at a time. Baby steps count.
No doubt.
I like that.
Baby steps, sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know that I've with Mariah, so we have, our daughters in the same middle school together. So
relationships matter.
Yeah. So like this part in time in life is really big for me. Is like mental health. Like we work really strongly on practicing healthy mental health practices, just to offset like hard work, because she's she's working hard in school, she has sports and all these other things, and then she has to upkeep friendships and upkeep relationship with different people, and mental health is something that I know for myself, wasn't talked about until I decided to talk about it when I was like 27. So, you know, it was a really big deal at that point. But something that we do now is like we do mental health practices, and we focus on like balancing out that hard work with making sure that we can think tomorrow, or we can like, you know, live to see another day kind of thing. So, but great points, you guys. Like that was pretty awesome. Are there any challenges that you guys think that you may have faced throughout your journey as a father, and being a father and being present?
I say social media, TikTok, you know, Snapchat, a lot of the technology. I feel these kids now have more distractions than we had growing up. You know, I mean, we had Nintendo and Sega Genesis. You know, they have all these apps.
Right.
Exactly. Right. You know, we you know
do that.
exactly. Right.
Really? It's at the 30-year-old.
Right. Really.
This guy.
What's that?
Yeah.
bad.
But no, that's cool. You know, and the thing is like there's so many distractions that they have now, and I think that's the challenge. It's like we have to, as parents, dads, you know, find that balance, you know, happy medium. You know, as far as like, yeah, you can have some of your tech time, but you know, we have to make sure that you prioritize, you know, what you need to take care of first. It's very important.
Oh, definitely.
That's real.
I would say for me, I'm in a co-parenting situation, and it was very challenging when me and my ex-wife decided to separate and get divorced, because I wasn't going to be there every day. However, the gem in that journey is that our relationship got stronger because I just had to figure it out. It was just me and my daughter, and I ain't the best dad in the world. I'm still learning, but our bond.
You're her best dad.
Yes, you're right about that.
Facts.
And our bond is like crazy. Like that, when I picked her up for school, she saw me come on the playground. She was full sprinted, tripped, fell, rolled over, and kept running. Daddy! And every day, that's how she greets me. And it's probably the best time of my life and time of the day. But it just goes to show just the relationship that we built over during this phase of life. And I know, like I said, that was the biggest, like, oh man, gonna be there every day. Is she gonna know who I am? And it's daddy everything.
Yeah.
Daddy everything. And that's probably the best thing that I think ever happened to me.
Yeah, that's major.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went before me, because I'm going to forecast what that looks like. You say she's 4, forecast what that looks like in 9 years. So those who know my story, if I'm just being totally transparent, I got to be transparent because that's the only way we really learn.
Right.
I didn't always have my daughters. So, you know, after they were 6 months old, their mother and I split, and I'm in the court system seeing them one day a week, every other weekend. Right? So that was the challenge, is fighting for the right to be a dad. You know what I'm saying? Not just being a dad, but fighting for the right to have that parenting time with your kids, right? Wow. So that has been an ongoing fight, to the point where now we have one daughter who lives with us full time and one now who's 50-50. But the challenge of trying to navigate that, having 2 different parenting styles, right? Having 2 different sets of values and things of that nature, and trying to navigate not only the emotional capacity of these young ladies, right? But also too, still trying to co-parent and try to function as a unit as much as possible, which may or may not happen sometime, right? So that's been a huge challenge, because when, you know, I grew up in a household, I had my moms and pops, right? So I'm blessed, I'm truly blessed to have that. So that's what I knew, right? And it pained me when my daughters didn't have that, right? Because now we're going back and forth. And I was fortunate enough, blessed enough to marry a beautiful woman now who, now my daughters can see what that unit looks like in a home. And now as a father, I make sure I lean into that, right? Because, I want them to see what I look like as a dad, but I also want you to see what I look like as a partner, as a spouse. This is how you should be treated, right? This is the relationship that you should have. So that's been a challenge. So, you know, people who don't know my story, they like, oh, we thought you had your girls full time all the time. I mean, I try my best to be in their lives, you know, and any dads watching this, let me please say this to you. Yo, you go get that time with your kids. You spend whatever you got to spend. You talk to whatever attorney you need to talk to, and you get that time with your kids, and you get it on paper. Not know, oh, how I feel today, and no, you can't see them. No, you get that documentation. I don't play with mine when it comes to my kids. You know what I mean? So that's the challenge. I had to fight to be a dad.
That's real. And I know we talked offline about this. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned in these 4 years of being a father is that my presence trumps everything.
Yes.
Money, gifts,
Yep.
me being there, me being present, me talking to her, me playing with Peppa Pig dolls matters to Savannah.
Yeah.
Not the business, not the money, not frugal Freddie. She can care less about that. It's dad being there. So
Man,
That's true.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Absolutely.
How about you, Sean?
Kudos. I mean, again, kudos to you all, and again, I'm right there with you on that. I think being present matters, and then having that unconditional love matters as well. Very important. So that's all I have to say about that.
No doubt.
So Perry went deep into his story. My story is actually very similar to you. It was very, very similar. About a year and a half into Mariah's life is when me and her mom split up, and her mom became very vindictive, and she used my daughter to be like to bully me and to make me do whatever would make her happy. And for a while, I was about peace. Right? I was like, yo, I'm gonna just try to keep peace. Whatever she wants, I'm gonna do it. I just want to see my daughter, And then it got to a point where she kept making other excuses to make it, harder. She disappeared for a little bit. I had to literally go at like a PI and find her. It took me 6 months to find my child at one point. And I just pulled up on her one time because all the clues led to it. You know what I mean? Like I went through a very traumatic experience with, with my daughter growing up, and so it I made it a point. To your point, I went and read the family law book.
Word.
Front to back in Texas, the Texas Family Law Book, to figure out what loopholes do I have, what rights can I actually, put forth. And what I learned is that I have a lot more rights than I thought I did. A lot more rights than I thought I did. Message.
For sure. Wow. For sure.
But if you don't know if you have rights, you're gonna sit back and just take whatever because you're like, the system's for the women. Yeah. It very much so is. Depending on where you are. And if you read the book and you have family law, you go and get pro bono assistance from people in law school. There's different programs out there that do pro bono work for family law. And I went and got consulted in different places, and I was like, yo, what kind of case do I have? And I didn't, it took me years to build up a case. Like when I say years, 3 years straight of me just collecting every receipt that every time I went to go see my daughter and I couldn't, I kept the receipt at the gas station. I went to the gas station to get my little receipt, timestamp. But what happens is it's carbon paper, so it eventually disappeared. Didn't work, but it used to work back in the day, I'm sure. It was advised to me and I tried it. But, I had something that gave me a timestamp for when I went to go see my daughter and I couldn't. Whenever I had a phone call, I made sure that I had a recording thing to hear, like a recording, to record all of our calls to make sure that everything that I'm collecting is basically to tell the story, like whether it's hey, you got poor living surroundings around my child. This is, whatever that case was, I was just collecting as much data, anything that I could use. And then, one moment in life happened, it's sad, but my daughter got mauled by a dog that I told her mom to remove. And then that was kind of like the thing, the needle, what is it? The needle that broke the camel's back?
Yep.
The straw, is it a straw that usually do it?
Yep.
So it's the straw that broke the camel's back.
No doubt. No doubt.
So that straw that broke the camel's back, and I was like, I'm taking her home with me, and I'll make sure she gets better. And she stayed with me ever since, and she's been really good since then.
kudos to you, man.
No doubt.
It's been a fight.
Absolutely.
It's been a fight, and I don't play, like you say, I don't play about mine.
And it's so major because I think, regardless of the situation, I think our daughters, I know our daughters have to see their dads go to bat for them, right? We had a basketball game the other day, and little youngster was, mouthing off at one of the twins, and I seen her puff up. And I said, okay, I ain't gonna jump in yet. I'm gonna let you handle your business, right? And then when it started to look like it was gonna be a little aggressive, pop in. Is there a problem here? Is there a problem? Not with mine. I said, that's my daughter. Yeah. Cass was like, so I believe our daughters need to see their dads go to bat for them and know that, I shared this not too long ago. The twins were probably 4 years old, old enough to just remember stuff. They're like, what's dad's job? Dad's job is to protect me, teach me right for wrong, prepare me for life. That's my job, right? You know what I'm saying? And I run hard with that.
Yeah. And even on that protection piece, like you said earlier, we are the first example of the man they could marry. You know what I mean? And prepare them for life. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like as a dad, I do want my daughter to get married. I don't want she only got to depend on me. No, I want her to have family, have legacy. And hopefully I'm setting that example for her to be a good picker of men or of a man when she gets of age. Even though at 4, like teaching her different things. It could be business, it can be school, it can be whatever, you know. So it's definitely providing that example. Although, like I said, my daughter's 4, like she observes everything, you know?
For sure.
And yeah.
That's real.
Just like a hawk, man. And like, I know, and I always say I know, but things from my experience with a teenager, like, I mean, she hears me. We bump heads a lot, right? Because obviously she's a teenager. She's becoming her own self, and not everything that I say is absolutely right or right for her. You know, she's figuring that part out. But one thing that I know is that we have conversations regularly, hard conversations, very intense conversations, whether it be about sexuality, whether it be about like other kids, like mental health, or like fighting or aggression or drama. Like I'm basically, she pours all her school drama into me. Do I enjoy it? Absolutely. I get all this drama from like Real World House, what is it? I forgot.
Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Real Housewives of Atlanta, but without the housewives, I get all that free of charge, and it lives rent free in my head. But it's, it's fun. It's fun sometimes, but it's that thing that my daughter feels like she has a door that she can always walk through that never closes.
Safe place.
A safe place to feel, to say. And I started that when she was like 6. Like, and I remember distinctly, we were in the car driving, and I was asking her a question. I don't know if she was lying about it. And what I told her was, I was like, okay, so we're gonna have this thing called a moment of honesty, right? In this moment of honesty, you can say anything that it is that's on your mind. You can tell me if you did something. If not, you can say whatever you want to say, and there will be no persecution for it. I like moment of honesty, and that's been our thing. And I told her, like, you can't use it to just like do something, admit that you did it to not get in trouble in this moment. But she's never really taken it for granted. But when she uses it, like, she started using it like instantly almost. Dad, can I tell you something? Can we have a moment of honesty? It'll be something that's trivial, like this kid said this thing and I got really angry, and then now it's a lot more aggressive, but it's still there, And so I think those are like gems. Like you guys are dropping gems about fatherhood, and I really appreciate y'all being on this panel, and opening up this door for people that are watching to really be a part of something that I think that is too far in between. I think is that a saying, right?
We'll roll with that. I like it.
that.
I feel good about it.
Okay,
I feel good about it.
Too far in between. We don't have Black father conversations, right?
Not enough.
There's not much of a huge platform for fathers in general, but Black fathers more so. There's always been these statistics that existed in our lives, and we'll go into that a little bit, and it might make you a little bit vulnerable, but we open right now.
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's all the statistics that really change or tries to fight against the narrative of what we actually are. And in reality, we are more present in our children's lives than other demographics, and that's statistics.
Yep.
And some people can try to figure out and nitpick on why that is the case. But the fact of the matter is that nowadays our generation is on a whole different segment. Minus Freddie, because Freddie's younger. But
Millennial, okay.
millennials. I'm a millennial too.
Oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? Who all these young dudes?
I'm old soul, right? But there's all these different statistics that try to fight and battle what it is that we're doing. And Black Girl Dad Week is something that I knew that I wanted to be a part of and wanted to create this panel. And my daughter is going to be a part of it as well. We're going to be at the Black Girl, the father-daughter dance. We're actually going to be shooting a podcast and shooting some content.
That's
So nice.
And so we're going to be like interviewing different fathers and daughters that are going to be there. If y'all want to be there, let me know. If y'all haven't gotten your ticket, I can get y'all in.
Oh, appreciate that.
Yeah,
VIP,
absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? VIP.
We don't stand in lines. Already told me that lesson. We don't stand in lines.
Facts. So my next question, let's dive deeper into ourselves.
Okay.
What is your relationship with your father, and how does that relationship transpire into you being a father or a present father or a father in general to your child, to your daughter?
I guess I'll go. Unfortunately, I lost my dad at 6 years old. My dad was killed, and unfortunately, I was there. I didn't see anything, but I was there.
Right.
All the commotion and everything. I remember it like it's yesterday, and I think that's why I go so hard, because my dad was only 33 when he passed away. And I'm 35, so it's like I never had that opportunity to go to a basketball game or him come to my game. And my dad had his challenges, but I always remember when we were together, we were together. You know what I mean? He was present, and I think that's the biggest thing on why I'm so present, even in the co-parenting situation. And I probably think my ex-wife, like, man, he's really present, you know? But I'd rather have it that way.
Right.
Like,
No
you
doubt.
know who I am, and Savannah knows who I am. So, but fortunately, my mother remarried. My stepdad was there, taught me a lot of valuable lessons. And I just picked up on different men in my life, positive and negative. Like, hey, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. So it shaped my whole fatherhood landscape. And, I got a lot more to learn, but definitely that kind of shaped everything with my dad passing away and putting things in perspective. Life's short. My dad was 33, so you got to live life to the fullest.
That's real. That's real. Speaking of my dad, so big shout out Perry Jeffries. I'm Perry Jeffries III. He's obviously the second. Big shout out to my granddad, Perry Jeffries, born in 1868. Had my dad in 1948. Y'all can run the math on that. So my grandfather was 80 when he had my dad. Wow. Just want to share that.
What?
Jump back into the lab. Don't worry about it. I got good genes.
Longevity.
Yo. So real talk, man. My dad, when it from a fatherhood standpoint, that's it, right? So from Akron, if it was 10 of us in the neighborhood, I was the only one who had a mom and pops there. Had it not been for pops, I'm in jail easy because I was in them streets. Just the deal was I couldn't stay in them streets all night because I had to answer to him, right? Him and my mom. So from a fatherhood standpoint, what I learned, and even just as a husband, putting on for your wife, showing love, the gifts, the loving on them, protecting them, right? As a parent, being there for your kids, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was him trying to take me swimming, you know what I'm saying? So I was teaching swimming at the age of 10 for the Red Cross because I learned how to swim at 4 and 5, right? So learning that piece, learning how to hustle. My pops had every hustle. Unfortunately, that generation wasn't taught about how to create wealth, but my hustle came from pops because it was always, man, you need to have you an A, B, C, maybe even a D hustle, right? And that's how, because he was a retired firefighter. We had Perry Jeffries tree trimming removal. You know what I'm saying? We had a family paper route. Big shout out to my mom's on that. She hustled too, right? You know what I'm saying? We had a hustle where we was picking up trash on the side of the highway. We wasn't convicts though, you know what I'm saying? But we would still show love. We didn't have a vest on, but we were still showing love. We still showing love because they was on the other side. So it was all love, right? You know what I'm saying? So we had all these hustles, and that's what my pops taught me. But present in the community, that's why I do things like this. Crazy active with the Urban League, crazy active with the NAACP, was recognized as a hero in the community. So I got a chance to sit back and see all that, right? And my pops wasn't perfect, but he was the perfect dad for me, right? I think when y'all said that earlier, right? The perfect dad for me, because he taught me you hold it down, you take care of your family come first, you have you some hustles, right? And you give back to the community and you show love, and it's about having impact. So he's not a rich man, right? But it's a bunch of people gonna walk around and be like, man, Mr. Jeffries taught me how to swim, or Mr. Jeffries helped me do this, or if it wasn't for your pops, man, I'd be out here jacked up, right? Yeah. So, man, I hit the dad lotto in that sense, because I know everybody didn't have that, and I know for sure I'm in jail. My best friend been in jail for murder since our senior year of high school. This is my guy, right? And I look at the rest of my friends, who didn't have that at the crib. I'm one of the only cats who go to the crib, and actually got a valid driver's license and ain't did no time. That's real. My wife has seen that. She didn't came to the crib. And cat's like, oh yeah, Perry never sat down. You know why? Because I had to answer to that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna get out these streets. I'm gonna run with y'all for a little bit, and then I'm at the crib. And the real dirt went on after the fact. Yeah, for sure. So big shout out to my pops.
Your dad was rich.
Yeah.
Real talk.
And I think that's and not to cut you off, I think that's the one thing that we can instill in our kids. Wealth is not all about money.
Facts. That's
true.
It's about the values, the lessons, the experiences, and money can't buy that stuff. So I always try to challenge people like, no, you're not broke. You just don't got a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Right.
The true wealth is into that, because that's what you can pass that down.
You can pass that down. Yep. Wealth is transportable for sure. No. That's good. All love. All love.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it must run in the water because my dad's from Akron too.
There you go.
From Cleveland.
Northeast Ohio in the building.
That's it.
Northeast Ohio in the building. Northeast Ohio in Texas. It's all love though.
Yeah.
It's all love. You from Northeast Texas?
I'm from South.
Okay. Well, I tried.
Yeah, man, I'm out of there.
What part of Texas?
I'm from Houston.
Houston, okay.
Born and
I got
raised,
family in Houston and in Austin.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But
we don't even talk about Austin. We just keep.
okay. I got you.
When you say Houston, when you say Texas and you say Austin, we was like,
Yeah.
we just
throwing about it. Okay, got you.
got their own world out there.
Yeah, but I would say like my dad, integrity and hard work, 100. He taught me that be a man of your word.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Good.
You do what you say and say what you mean. His work ethic was crazy. And that's one of the ways I look at, looking back at it, he was at work a lot. But also that's another way you show love too for your family. You go to bat for your family, you make sure that they're financially good and so forth. And I remember going to the racquetball clubs. My dad was really, really good in racquetball. I mean, like, this is a predominantly white club, and he's the only brother in the club killing them, But, as a kid, I was running around in the clubs, and they got to know who I was. Yeah. And then he also worked for the newspaper company, the Citizen Journal, before it was the Columbus Dispatch. So being young and going in to the distribution center and so forth, I picked up a lot of cuss words at an early age. I was cussing by the time I was 3 years old. Passion. Passion. Yeah. In context, too. I know how to use cuss words in context. That was the thing.
That's the scary part.
Exactly. So when I would come home, my mom would be like, "Where you learn this at?" So, but growing up, we did butt heads as far as when I was a teenager and stuff. But and because I was when you're a teenager and you try your dad, and just like I said earlier, my son tries me. Shout out to Andrew. Almost 16, walking around with no shirt on, in the house and so forth, and trying to flex his six pack and ask me to show me, show in line. Yeah, exactly. So, but I would say my dad though, to this day he's still working. He's 72 years old. Still out there grinding and hustling. My mom has Alzheimer's dementia. So we were trying to, we had to set up services for her. And of course, still, while he's working, trying to hold the home down and so forth. But, watching him and how he interacts with people is one of the things, because I was like, well, you talk different when you're at home versus when you're out in public and you're handling business. And I was so intrigued by that, even when he's talking on the phone and he's talking business, so that's one of the things where I feel like I really picked up on, the integrity part, the hard work. So he went to Akron U, played football, for Akron U. Fell asleep on the sidelines when it was super cold with the heaters. So they were trying to call him to get in, but he was on the sideline asleep. So he tells that story sometimes. But no, all jokes aside, not to get off track, but my dad and I, we have a really good relationship. That's one of the things that I of course chose a path where, I'm looking to, wanting to retire and so forth. And he's like, I'm gonna work till the day I die. It's just that mindset, the older generation has.
Yeah, for sure.
That's real.
So if I go into my story, I don't have a relationship with my dad right now, even right today. He's been in prison. He was in and out of prison. Well, he's consistently in prison from a time I couldn't remember all the way until I was 18. Right, he got out, met this stranger, started wanting to build a relationship with him, wanted to say the words "dad," because I call him pops. I don't even call him dad now. But so I don't really have much from him as far as lessons or or how-tos of anything. Like he went to jail selling drugs, and he was during the time of he wasn't in the crack epidemic or the war on drugs, but he basically sold all those hard drugs. So he's very much a part of that phase. And so he got out, you know, spent a year or so out, and then went back in for a couple of years, and then he recently just got out, I think a year and a half ago. And still, we don't have a relationship, you know, and I'm at a point now, I'm just like, I'm not even gonna try anymore. But I've learned a lot from him though. I learned what absence does. I learned the impact of absence and the heartache that it requires, or the pain that or the work that it requires to try to be impactful, and still and try to like navigate not having that presence of that role model and trying to be an impactful person in the society. I get a lot of my lessons from other people. So just like Freddie mentioned, he was like, you know, he get lessons from different things and different. For me, it was interviews, right? I watched a lot of interviews from people all around. Like I've watched a Tupac interview, like all these different very impactful, influential people. I've watched their interviews multiple times growing up, and I was like, I want that piece, and I would just take pieces of people to really formulate who I am. And I'm basically a Frankenstein of a lot of great men. Whether it be older, whether it be something. I remember one big lesson I got from this man while I was sitting at a pool at Disney World, contemplating my life. I was sitting in the pool, and this man was like, he was a plumber. He'd been a plumber since he was 18. He was probably like 60 something, right? He was like, you know, just put in the work and the results will follow. Like, focus on the process and the results will follow. And that little conversation changed my entire perspective. You know, there was this girl in college that had a really good relationship with her dad. She was like, hey, because what I would do is when I come into town from college, like I would pick up Mariah and we would go do something really big, right? I was like, oh, we're gonna go into the circus, or we're gonna go and do all these big crazy things. I want to create memories. I want you to remember me when I have to go back to school. And this girl was like, she doesn't care about any of that. She was like, she just wants to hang out with you. She just want to go to the grocery store, and, you know, just know that you're there. And so you know what I started doing? I just stopped spending money. And I was just like, all right, it's free to be a dad, right? Like it's a little bit free, you know, it costs, but there's this freedom in knowing that you're building different types of relationships. So my relationship with my daughter literally catapulted to a whole other trajectory because I was able to focus on things that are more substantial and substantive. And like we would go on father-daughter dates every Thursday. We would go watch a dance, and I was very much in a dance community in Houston. So we would go to dance shows, and for her it was like the most, like she loved it. Take her backstage to go meet dancers, like the whole 9 yards, and that was our thing. And you know, we just talked about it last week that we need to do it. We need to like get back into the
Daddy-daughter date night.
Yeah, because we do things, we go places, but it's like we got to really get back into that, because that was the meat of our relationship. So to that point, like I didn't have a male role model there that I could even pinpoint, you know, and say, hey, I'm about to be like this man, you know. But I know that I want my daughter to find her place in this world and be like, yo, I want whoever I'm with to be like this man, kind of thing. So that's my story. You know, and you know, before we get out of here, I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for being in this panel. This is the first of many of Fatherhood Speaks. This is like 15 Minutes with Dad is going to be producing Fatherhood Speaks. So I'm always going to be looking for fathers that want to be on this panel on an ongoing basis to create this table in this space where we all can have these kind of conversations. Again, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. And Black Girl Dad Week, February 13th through 19th. Make sure you are looking at blackgirldadweek.com to see what's going on out there throughout this entire week. Today we had this panel. Tomorrow there's other stuff. The next day there's other stuff, all the way until Saturday. And then there's gonna have something for Sunday as well, which I believe is like Black Love. I don't remember all the days, but I remember there was like Black Love Day where you go into a restaurant, take your significant other to go eat in a restaurant to celebrate Valentine's Day. And then you go, the Saturday is the Black Girl Dad Father-Daughter Dance, which is gonna be at COSI. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna be in the building. I hope y'all be in the building. If so, we're gonna see y'all, get some more shots with y'all and talk with y'all there. So again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching this Fatherhood Speaks, Black Girl Dad, entrepreneurial panel discussion. You guys have a good day. Love, peace, chicken grease, y'all.
Peace.
Yeah.